This time on Pet Medics, the vets get a visit from a cold-blooded customer.
He's so cool.
But what's in his mysterious lump?
It's weird. I don't know what it is.
How has this injured dog managed to single-handedly clear the clinic?
I'm alone here looking after him. I'm prepared for it to get much worse.
And has this horse bully gone too far?
Holy.
In the coastal North Island town of Tauranga, a vet's life is never dull. At the biggest local vet clinic, the waiting room is always full. In a typical day, the vets and nurses can encounter the big, the small, and the unusual.
It's not the first time we have to catch a patient first.
And this morning is no different, as Vet Kate is preparing for an exotic visitor.
We're about to have a bearded dragon visit us.
Kate's had some experience with dragons during her time working in the UK.
They're different to treat. We don't get taught a lot about that at uni, and it's difficult because they're slow metabolism, things change very slowly. So for owners to pick up that something's wrong, it can often take some time.
Owner Liam has had Indy for 4 years after inheriting him from his cousin.
He's about 8 years old. He sort of cruises around the lounge. He doesn't do a hell of a lot, but he's part of our family, so that's pretty cool.
Indy has developed a strange lump, and Liam is concerned.
We're just a little bit worried about what this is and if we can do much more to repair it, I suppose. Don't want to see him disappear off our lounge floor anytime soon.
He's awesome, isn't he? Poor old Indy's got a pretty large lump that you've seen growing.
Yeah, well, it was the size of a peanut, I suppose,
Okay.
about 2 months ago, and it's just slowly got bigger and bigger and bigger.
It's not every day a bearded dragon comes into the clinic, and Indy is attracting attention.
He's so cool.
Oh my goodness, it's amazing! I lived with a nurse. She was breeding them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and so she had hundreds of these little things like running around. I'm just going to check him over the best I can, and then probably what we're going to need to do with this lump is actually just stick a little needle in there and try and find out what it is.
Kate's also concerned about Indy's weight.
He seems quite thin.
He's always been...
Always been like that.
This is a large lump for a small dragon.
He doesn't seem to be having too much trouble breathing, does he?
No.
Could be something like an abscess, or it could be something a bit more sinister, like a tumour of some kind.
Kate takes a sample from inside Indy's lump.
Yeah, it's really thick. It's just like this sort of stringy, goopy kind of stuff. It's weird.
She needs to examine the strange substance under the microscope.
So we're just about to have a look and see if we can see anything that might give us an indication on what's going on. I don't know what it is. It's not pus.
What will she find inside this lizard's lump? Jack the Pointer has come in with his owner Coralie, sporting some mysterious injuries to his legs.
How you doing on Max?
Hi, Max. We came out this morning and I saw his blanket where he sleeps was covered in blood.
Yep.
I've noticed this cut on the back of his leg and I thought I could just put some betadine on that, and then
Realised that one was done as well.
saw this one and thought that was a bit out of my league.
Signs of...
Jack has a couple of nasty gashes, perhaps incurred during one of his nightly patrols.
He earns his keep by eating possums.
Okay.
Possums come up out of the bush and eat our plums and stuff, so we let him taste them. It could be from climbing around a barbed wire fence or something. There are a few cars on our road, so he may have been collected.
There's nothing sort of obvious that I can feel.
But Jack's leg injuries are not his only problem.
So let's just have a little check of the abdomen here.
Oh, that's brave standing at that end. He does have some really strange smelling farts.
Right, he does have some gas, doesn't he?
This is definitely not one of the perks of the job.
If he does find rubbish, he'll eat it.
Yeah, and it's smelling quite bad now, Jack.
It's a tough job being a
It is. Right, lucky for you guys at home, this isn't smell-o-vision.
Jack will need to have an operation to stitch his wounds, but with his gassy problem, Max suggests something more.
Probably take an X-ray of his abdomen, just to sort of look for any signs of an obstruction or gastritis.
And it won't be a moment too soon, as Jack just can't hold it in.
Oh, did you see that? He's just letting go quite a bit of gas, aren't you, boy? Man, that is bad. That is really bad. The old air conditioner, I think.
But it's not just a laughing matter.
Potentially there is something more sinister going on. He has probably gotten into something, a garbage, maybe eaten a rotten carcass of some sort.
Despite that, he's a loved family pet who's had a rough start in life.
We got him when he was 5. He's a rescue dog. He had a few behavioural problems when we got him, but he's come right now and he's a really beautiful, amazing animal.
Jack will go into surgery in a few hours, and hopefully his other problems will come right too, if only for the sake of the other animals waiting with him in the back room. Out on the countryside, mixed animal vet Marcus has been called to see a horse with a potentially life-threatening leg injury.
Even a subtle, tiny sort of puncture wound can lead to a major problem that requires significant intervention or euthanasia in a lot of cases.
Anne and Ken have owned Nugget and his horse friend Zarko for 5 months.
We went down to check them in the morning and we noticed that he had a big gash on his leg.
Good looking wound, it's got a lot of discharge.
Marcus needs to sedate Nugget to treat the wound. Anne suspects all might not be well between the paddock mates.
I've got a funny feeling that he may have kicked him. Do you think it looks like a kick?
Oh, it's hard to say. A kick and a laceration from a wire fence, they look similar, you know.
I don't know what to do. I don't know if to split them up, but I have seen him sort of back kick before.
Perfect, thank you.
Marcus gives the wound a thorough clean.
We'll give it a couple of days in a bandage and just let it sort of settle down a bit further and we'll just keep reassessing.
And to keep Nugget out of harm's way, Anne decides to separate Zarko off.
Can you put one in that paddock there?
Oh, yeah, we could do.
Just shut that gate, that'll be enough.
And they can still talk over the fence,
exactly,
can't
yeah.
they? Come here, Zarko.
But Zarko's not making it easy for her.
Oh, no!
Yeah, I'll help out.
He's not happy with the new living arrangements.
Horses are actually companion animals. They develop bonds and they hate to be separated. So Zarko's getting a bit wound up being away from his boyfriend. It's like the naughty corner.
But there could be a lot more to worry about than just a lover's tiff.
Nugget's wound is actually a lot deeper than what it initially looked like. So right on that area is where some tendons run down the leg. So we'll be concerned now that, you know, they could be injured.
If Nugget's leg is irreparably damaged, it could leave Anne in a difficult position.
It comes down to owner's decision about a referral for surgery or euthanasia.
A horse can't go with 3 legs, you know. In the end, we, make the call.
Jack the Pointer is waiting in a suspiciously quiet clinic. He came in this morning with nasty wounds that need stitching and a bad case of flatulence. Nurse Jess is preparing him for the operation.
Jack seems to have cleared the building. I'm alone here looking after him. I'm prepared for it to get much worse under anaesthetic.
But it seems Jess may get a reprieve.
Obviously, cost is probably quite an issue for you, and that is something that we do need to consider.
Jack's owner Coralie has unexpectedly called and decided not to go ahead with the stitches, preferring to treat Jack by alternative methods instead.
She's treated a few of his wounds before with Manuka honey and steri strips, and they have come right. And so we're going to try that today.
Manuka honey has been used to treat wounds for centuries and has unique antibacterial properties.
It does actually stimulate the proliferation of new tissue to help with actual wound healing.
Can't have the whole thing.
Max and Jess will clip and clean Jack's wounds to give them the best chance of healing.
There are risks that this may not work, but we are doing everything we can topically and systemically to try and get this wound back together. Preventing Jack from sort of licking the wound is a really important aspect to treatment. Hey, Jack. Hey, don't do that.
With the cone safely in place, Max deals with Jack's other wound, which seems to be causing him much more pain.
All right. Come on.
The manuka honey is applied to the wounds.
From our perspective, it's not the most ideal treatment, but as happens a lot in veterinary practice, we aren't government funded and cost is a big issue sometimes for clients. So having an affordable sort of a plan B works really well.
Jack will head home with a course of antibiotics. And Coralie will need to keep applying the honey.
We're gonna give manuka honey a crack. It's a bit more labour intensive and maybe the timeline's a bit longer, but hopefully it's a bit less traumatic for Jack overall.
Luckily, Jack's other problem seems to have passed.
We haven't had any of the gut upsets that we were thinking, so that's another good sign.
So maybe if you did just find something
Hopefully it's just
good tasty to eat.
a small passing sort of gastritis.
With that, Jack is off, and Coralie seems confident that the manuka honey magic will work.
I'm sure a couple of weeks he'll be back to hunting possums, digging them up, teaching them who's the boss.
Kate has been examining Indy the Bearded Dragon, who's come in with a rather large lump.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
After taking a sample, she's scrutinising it under the microscope to try and figure out what's inside.
He's got the cool reptile red blood cells.
Mean.
Holly can't resist a picture of the unusual lizard cells, but they've spotted something even more out of the ordinary.
We've got these populations of spindly-like cells there that are abnormal and in large numbers, so I think it's looking something sinister.
Oh, poor little guy.
Kate lets Liam know the bad news.
They don't look like infection, it looks more, more cancerous to me.
They'll send the sample off to the lab for further testing. Kate also recommends a referral to a reptile specialist in Auckland.
I guess we can see what we might be able to do here, but couldn't give you any guarantees. Cool. And couldn't say that we do reptile surgery every day. Antibiotics.
It will be an anxious wait for the lab results.
I do spend a bit of time with him and I do get a bit attached to him, so it's going to be very sad if we can't do anything about it.
A few days later, Vet Marcus is returning to Anne and Ken's property to check on wounded horse Nugget, who has been separated from horse friend Zarko.
It is definitely possible that Zarko actually kicked Nugget and caused that injury over feed or something like that.
But there's a surprise waiting for him when he arrives.
Hello. How are you guys? Holy.
It seems horse love knows no bounds, and Zarko has gate-crashed Nugget's paddock.
He took that down within half an hour.
Is that right?
And it's bent.
Oh, he's lucky he didn't hurt himself.
We put Zarko in the other paddock, and within 30 minutes he'd busted the gate down and he was in with his mate. How he could have bent a metal gate, I don't know,
We arrived here and Zarko and Nugget are together, hand in hand basically, so he couldn't handle being separated. What's that saying? Strong feelings. Hello, Zarko.
But it's poor Nugget Marcus has come to actually see. After sedating him, Marcus examines his leg.
There's a flap there that we're going to have to cut that off.
Oh no.
It looks worse than what it really is.
Do you have to cut it?
Yeah, I think that's just going to interfere with delay our healing.
Anne can't look while Marcus performs a bit of minor surgery before rebandaging the wound.
Just relieved that's done and the news is a little better than the other day,
But is it?
I don't think we're clear yet. There's potential that there's an underlying tendon tear. There could be something going on, so may require more intervention.
Marcus will be back the following week to check on Nugget, but will Zarko be able to keep his temper under control? Two weeks have passed since Jack the Pointer came to the clinic with a couple of nasty wounds, and making some even nastier smells.
Hey Coralie, how are you?
After owner Coralie chose to treat his wounds with Manuka honey, Jack is back for a checkup with vet Holly.
Hello, this must be Jack.
The wound on Jack's front was especially large, challenging to treat without surgery, but there's some surprising results.
So that looks like it's coming together quite nicely there. Obviously, we still haven't quite got full healing yet. Have you still been putting the Manuka honey?
Yeah, so if it looks gross, like wash it with Epsom salts.
Okay, perfect.
And then more water, and then just put more honey on.
Holly checks out the more painful wound on the back of Jack's leg.
So that lump is something that's might go down a bit, but it's probably not going to totally disappear. We're getting a good amount of healing, and I think that we're going to get a reasonably good result.
Yeah, and I think because he's not a show dog, it doesn't really matter if he's got some good...
You're going to have some scars.
And while there's been no return of the flatulence, Jack's got another smelly issue.
How long do you think before I can take him swimming again? He's quite pungent.
I would still be waiting probably another maybe 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Salt water's obviously okay for wounds.
Yeah.
But yeah, we just don't really want him to sort of damage or reopen anything.
Oh, Jack, gotta wait a bit longer. Oh.
With wounds, there's always the option to leave them and see how they go. It is a much slower option, less cosmetic finish, and at the end of the day, it can take a long time for them to heal.
Despite that, Jack's making a great recovery.
I was a little bit nervous about going against what the vet had recommended because it felt like it was a big wound, but we tried it out and it's been amazing. It's really, really, I mean, you can see it's a great result.
Meanwhile, Indy the Bearded Dragon's test results are back.
They can't say definitively are they cancerous or are they not.
And there are dangers in removing such a large lump from such a small animal.
The risks of surgery with a lizard is significant compared to a cat or a dog.
And little Indy would need to be subjected to a raft of further tests.
Before we were to remove the lump, we'd need to do a bit of investigation to check if it had spread anywhere else. You know, long term, the prognosis may not be so good if it is one of those nasty ones. I guess it would be a case of assessing his quality of life as you go along, and when it gets to the stage that it's, you know, that it's affecting his quality of life, then you'd need to make some decisions.
Owner Liam makes the difficult decision not to investigate further, preferring instead to let Indy live out his life surrounded by his family.
They've decided they don't want to put him through that trauma and also the expense of it. With a particularly big lump like that, I think it's a fair call that it wasn't going to be an easy thing to cure or fix. So, yeah, I can understand why they've made that decision.
It's a rainy day when Marcus heads out to visit Nugget the horse, who received a nasty wound from his paddock-mate Zarko. But he's concerned about the change in weather.
Just with the sort of wet weather, we could open up the bandage and find that it's, you know, chronically wet.
But it hasn't dampened Zarko's ardour.
Last time we separated these lovers, Zarko got a bit concerned, jumped the fence, they pretty much bent it in half. Hopefully we don't have this problem today.
He still keeps a close eye while Marcus checks out Nugget's wound.
I'm hoping to see it a lot better than it was before. That's what I'm hoping for.
And Marcus is in for a surprise.
Hey, this looks dry. Awesome.
Yeah.
What a difference a few days make.
Yeah, it looks great. It's definitely got smaller.
Definitely, and it's filled in.
Flat, you know, it's nice.
So we don't need to dig anything out, hey, just a bit of cream.
We'll do a real quick clean, just a light clean, and then we'll cream and bandage again.
It's a relief, and Anne's outlook is sunny, despite the weather.
Good news for me, I'm so pleased. Yeah.
At this stage, first looks, yeah, great, we're on track.
While there's been a dramatic improvement in Nugget's leg, Zarko's behaviour hasn't improved at all, as he brazenly steals Nugget's food.
That's like bully in the lunchroom, mate, taking his lunch money. Zarko must wear the pants because he's pushing him around, not allowed to eat his own food.
With Nugget's physical well-being seen to, Marcus decides to give his relationship a helping hand as well.
Here you go, Nugget. Get out of here.
And puts this paddock bully in his place.
He's not happy about this change in dynamics.
Nugget's wound should continue to heal nicely.
No, where you go? Go and eat your hay.
Now he just has to teach Zarko to keep his hooves to himself.